Okay. Hello everybody that's joining now. It's great to see you. Hopefully you enjoyed the last session on the digital skills gap, and obviously Holly's session on AI. I know I did. It was a really exciting session. And actually the last session we did leads into this session, understanding culture, language and being inclusive in your business really, really well. And just in the green room before you guys saw us, Katrina and I and Sam were just having a little chat about some of the language that we use. And it really made me think actually, that I sometimes use this kind of language. You know, none of us are perfect, but hopefully this session is going to, you know, make you think every time you do create something digitally or you do say something online. So it's really, really exciting. So with that in mind, I want to welcome Katrina Young, who is a consultant, KYC Consulting Digital. So KYC, Katrina Young Consulting, that's what it stands for. And she is a digital strategist, and she specializes in the customer journey and, you know, those kind of customer journey, the funnels and that kind of thing. And I can definitely vouch for her when I say she knows her stuff. So today, over to you, Katrina, understanding culture, language and being inclusive in your business when selling online. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So hello there. Usually I'd expect a bit of interactivity, so I am going to talk to you. Lucy, how does it work with reference to questions? Will they be in the chat box? Will you let me know if there's any questions?
Yeah, so at the end we will we'll go to the questions, and when we're finished I'll be listening out and we'll go to the questions. So feel free to chat, guys, ask any questions that you might have.
Yeah,
over to you, Katrina.
Thank you. So I won't just be talking at you, and Lucy has given an intro. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out. And I say that because I think over the last year we've had lots of things thrown at us, and I think it's really important to understand culture and language and being inclusive for your business where you are. So it's not that one size fits all, it definitely isn't. And I just want to talk about why inclusivity is important. Now, I want to add a caveat and a disclaimer to this. I am not a DEI expert. I'm looking at just the digital stance. I'm referring to your customer journey. I am a qualified lecturer, and so when I trained as a teacher, there were, you know, pertinent areas that I needed to understand, and inclusivity was one of them. Now, why is being inclusive important? So we need to be inclusive, and we need to make sure that we've got representation for everyone so that they see themselves, you know, having a place in our adverts, in our promotions, in our marketing and advertising campaigns. And this is really about embracing diversity across all socio-demographics. So we were in the green room and we were talking about the term Karen, and it's not something that I like or buy into, because actually, what if there is someone out there called Karen who has mental health issues, and because of this whole campaign is unable to go out? So it's looking at incidents like this and how we can be inclusive. And so if you are a marketing business or advertising and you're making memes, which we do, I do GIFs, you want to think about that in your promotions, and whether you are educating yourselves and your teams, which is the first place to start. Now, for me, I think so many people with what's been happening didn't know what to say, and, you know, thought, well, we can't say anything. And for some people, many who had just felt as their own kind of integrity and their own ethos that they were fair to all. But as businesses, there's more onus on us to promote that and let people know. So how can we do that? We can start making provisions and providing equality of opportunities at all levels. Again, and I'm saying this at all levels, and I'm talking about ageism, neurodiversity, just letting people know that this is across the board. So how can you do this? What I did with my teams and when I was working with other departments and other businesses, we brought in specialists for that actual HR aspect. But one of the things that we started with was making sure that we had inclusive policies. So one of the best ways to do this is, before you even get into the stage of having a DEI expert, is looking at your campaigns, looking at your promotional materials, looking at your team, and asking yourselves, is there a global representation? And sometimes, particularly if your company, agency, or business is in a particular area, this can happen, that there may not be diversity. And so the first thing is just to be human about the whole approach to this, and understanding that actually the world's evolved, and we need global representation. So we do audits. I look at our content. For myself, I wrote a blog last week talking about neurodiversity. Do I have campaigns that show people who are disabled, who are in wheelchairs? And if not, you can refine this. I think the most important aspect of this is being real and communicating your efforts and your approach to diversity and equality. So saying, we're a company that wants to be doing all things diverse and inclusive. That means that we're constantly challenging ourselves, we're having conversations, and I think that's the best approach. There's been so much call out culture, but it's definitely important to consider all aspects. So when you're looking at online digital channels, portals, courses, and obviously digital products, many people don't think about that being as part of your digital inclusion, and that's really important. So we can't assume that if we're creating digital courses that everyone has accesses to all devices. Now, I know the onus is on us as business owners, we've got so much to do, but accessibility is such an important thing. It's a legality. It's making sure that your websites and your products are usable on all devices. But more so, we want to think about our designs. Now, so often I'll have someone ask me to look at their funnel, and I'll say it's beautiful, but you've got all of the words or over a picture. And we need to think of UX and UI and accessibility, and for those people who may have impairments. So there are easy ways to do this. There are plugins and things that you can do, but you want to think about making advances for people who may have impairments, as well as your resource design. So one of the first things to do, and I want to get this off of here, okay, so is thinking, am I being digitally inclusive? Oh my God, that's another thing to do. And that's what we did. We did that with GDPR. But because of COVID, there's been a surge in digital transformation, meaning that people were having to use technology, they're having to get online, which means that if you've got a website that you should have updated, now's a great time to do that. But also thinking, are you being digitally inclusive? So when I speak to a lot of people, they think, oh, but, we thought being inclusive and, having equality is all about, people just talking about race. And I think it's more broader than that. We're living in a, evolved world. And so number one, as I said, you do need to ensure that you are being compliant. If you've got a website and someone's coming onto there and it's got like flashing videos, you want to tell people that. You want to give just a little disclaimer. And there are great websites out there that give you and provide you with lots of details on how you can do this. And I think don't overload yourself. Approach yourself with a holistic view that you're constantly updating and adding revisions, and you're communicating this. So ways that you can do this is communicate a roadmap, do surveys, do posts and let people know, and add a feedback form, and just, let people know that you've got a feedback loop. I think the most important aspect of this is of wider. I had an incident where we were on Clubhouse and there was a deaf user on there. I think we've got an error with the internet. Okay, we're back. And they mentioned that, I've got an issue with I think it was text to speech. So do think about these things. And I alluded to this with the Karen term earlier on, but we want to kind of move away from jargon that may be offensive, or any terms that could, even if they seem to be on trend, realign that with our brand and our company ethos. and kind of step away from call out culture. There's been a ton of that, and you want to make sure that you're not doing this. So some of the ways, as I say, in my experience, and I think it's really important that you go back to your experience and how to embed this in your creative process with marketing and advertising, is having diverse team input. So diverse team input may be people from different social, I don't know, economic demographics, if you can do that. People that are different ages and lifestyles who may have just a different input. So giving you, you know, some diversity, a diverse thought process. Providing representation in your graphics and images. So making sure that, you know, you have across the spectrum. And then I think one of the things that was so important that I gave so many of my clients at the time when all of these things came out, I mean, I don't refer to the term as Black Lives Matter because I'm a creative business, I'm not a politician, I'm not political, and therefore I don't get involved in any of those areas. However, you can promote your mission, your ethos, and your company manifesto, and therefore that may encapsulate your social responsibility, which is what I elected to do. Again, this is totally different for yourselves. Once you educate your teams, you are essentially creating a D&E benchmark. So you know where you started from and how you want to get better. And I think that's the best way to be, you know, clear, communicative, aware, in line with what's happening, but not taking ownership that you are a professional in that area, because you're an expert in your field and definitely not DEI, and neither am I. So the next thing is really to consider the language, symbols and awareness around that. So I may have had campaigns with previous clients working in different regions and different countries, and sometimes those colours have actually been offensive. So if you are adopting advertising campaigns that, you know, are going across global regions, consider the colours and symbolism and what that may mean at a specific time. You want to look at reviewing biases as well, and just having a DEI person just look at, you know, what you're doing. So how can you be more diverse and inclusive? As I said, there is a compliance aspect to this, but you also want your business to be governant. And there are legal requirements to give, you know, fair opportunities to all in your advertising, in your campaigns, and when taking on staff. So you want to be aware of what's happening in the world. Don't bury your head in the sand, but communicate that, you know, for me, there are some things that I wouldn't talk about on my timeline because it's not in line with the brand, and you are totally okay to do that. Do get education, and ongoing education and development is going to work great for your business. So being inclusive in your business is really considering all, seeking guidelines and promoting the same opportunities. And that may mean in your adverts, promoting that you have an opportunity, or anyone who is viewing your your adverts, your content, anything that you're putting out there, that they feel like they have the same opportunity and representation for themselves. So you want to make sure you use that in your language, in your wording, and that's it. If you do require some support along, just some ideas about being digitally inclusive, and I say this because I really want to honour the point that I'm not a DEI expert, but we're working with lots of companies helping them to be digitally inclusive. And that's it. I'm sorry about the postman.
Thank you, Katrina. That's okay. It happens to the best of us, especially when we're doing, you know, live events at home.
Yeah. Gosh.
We are hoping to get back to real life events at some point, and that, with it's all, you know, a whole load of other exciting challenges.
Yeah. The postman slam dunking.
Katrina, that was a really interesting session actually, and there was loads of ideas, like Barbara Edwards is saying, thank you, loads of ideas here, some things we don't necessarily think about. And we all do it, we've all had fun, you know, talking about the Karens or whatnot, and we've all jumped on trends, we've all done different things, but not necessarily thought about the implications of that. And I think this is a really good thinking session, because you've really just planted the seed and helped us to understand, every time we do create something or we do something online, and that goes back to the job titles and that kind of thing that we're thinking about earlier, to just make sure that we're thinking a little bit more deeply about what we're saying and what we're doing and who this might affect.
Absolutely. I think it's about representation. And I said to you on Friday, for myself, I looked at my content and there was not enough imagery around, people being of all abilities. And so I needed to ensure that I did that. I think we have to just approach it with a humanistic approach, because there's a lot of pressure on us as small business owners.
Sorry, I was just replying to.
I know, I saw that. I
wasn't ignoring you. I wasn't ignoring you. Someone's trying to get access to the event, and I'm sending them a message at the same time because they don't.
No worries. Yeah.
Just multitasking there, Katrina. But absolutely right. Representation is so important. Emma says it was an excellent session, Katrina. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Emma.
We can all echo that, Katrina. It was a really, really good session and really interesting.
I think that most people worry about it. For myself, I worried as well. I think we've got so much to do. It's just about saying, okay, this is how I want to improve. This is what, how I can be digitally inclusive. But yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, Lucy.
Before you go, Katrina, Hannah's actually got a question. I know Hannah runs a lot of events and stuff, and she's saying, how does she find diverse event speakers, and is it okay to ask outright? Actually, this is a problem I think event organisers have, because we want to be as diverse and inclusive as possible, but we don't want to use tokenism. We want to use the right people for the job. Right, we don't want to use people because of how they look or who they are and that kind of thing. We just want to use people that are right for the job, but we have a duty to make sure that our events are diverse. So it means working a little bit harder to go and find the right people, to make sure that you have a real kind of mixture of different types of people, men, women, different races, different, neurodiverse disabilities, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
How would you go about that, and how do you think people should ask you if they should they be going to different people and saying, we think you're great, but also we want you because you make our lineup diverse? I don't think that's the right way to do it.
I've had loads, I think. And I said to you, I have this thing, if I can't speak for something, I'm not political. I don't know about Black Lives Matter, and therefore I didn't buy into I think that everyone is important, and I do support that, yes, Black Lives Matter, because of, I don't know, even getting into the whole BLM thing. But what it put off, I think it put lots of people off on footing, that they reached out just because they needed to do it, because they felt, oh my goodness, I'm doing something wrong. So for me, I had a lot of requests that asked for diversity, and that was okay for me. I think, like you say, when we move into tokenism, before this even happened, you asked me to be a speaker for lots of events way back down the line. So I think it's about that. But you're right. And I think, Emma, that's always evolving. I'm part of a lot of directories at the moment where what do you search as a keyword? That's the difficulty in this. So I think it is about approaching it with diverse or inclusive speakers who then might have a particular keyword that you're looking for. But Emma, that's a great point. It is very difficult, which is why I say we have to approach this from a holistic point of view. So.
Absolutely. And did you say there was like a expert directory or something like that where you can find knowledgeable speakers?
There is. I've got to find it. Her name's Madeline McQueen, and she has one. And at the moment, I'm part of a massive directory for AI, which is looking for people on, we're talking from people who have accents from, I don't know, Scottish to African. So I am contributing to some of those communities, but as I think we're in a massive scope for digital transformation. I had a request from Silicon Valley yesterday for an event on Thursday. So, it's happening across the boards. It's small businesses, massive corporations, massive technology companies. So, yeah.
Wow. So there you go, Katrina.
Thank you.
I think we can all, you know, agree that was a fantastic session and really
Thank you
eye-opening.
so much.
If people want to connect with you, Katrina, how can they find you and chat to you? How can they share that they loved your session online?
Oh, please take a screen jump. I really want you to. So it's katrinayoungconsulting.com. On my website, we're going to have some hackathon sessions where we just hack a lot. We just have some kind of jams. And Lucy, I'd like to invite you to one of those, which means that we could look at an area like this and look at how we can improve it. I think it's so important. No one is going to get it right. I'm always doing this. But I think if we are contributing to things like Karens and all of this kind of stuff, we should think about that again. So Lucy, no more of that, please, to your mum.
Yeah, my mum's called Karen. We were talking about it. My mum's called Karen, and we call her Karen. And now we're just like really thinking about and really having to think about that now. And I'm going to tell the rest of my family off as well.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we should all be doing this, thinking about it, and just you know,
look at how these things happen. And I think there is going to be someone out there that has really been terribly impacted by that. So we just got to think about it. So yeah, you can get me on my website, across the socials. I'd love to connect. And Lucy, this is an amazing event. As always, you do set the bar high.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
She's saying we need to create some I'm on mute cards so that to hand it out to people so people can, so we'll definitely do that for next time, but hopefully we'll be a real person event next time. Thank you so much, Katrina. That was absolutely incredible. I know I've said it a couple of times now. Please do go connect with Katrina. And our next session that's coming up at 12:30. So we've got like half an hour.
Someone wants the website address. Let's just do it.
Yeah, type that in. All these sessions have been recorded and everything, so you will be able to watch them back. But we'll also put them all into Digital Women.
Oh, thanks, Anita. Thank you, Barbara. Yeah, knowledge over proportional representation every day. Yeah, that's completely right. And do you arts outright? Hannah says, how do I arts outright? Hannah, I would say that we've addressed that, but again, I would just say you're looking for a range of speakers, and I'm happy when someone says that to me. So yeah, thank you. Thanks again, Lucy. Do I end it then here?
No, it's okay. I'll do it. Don't worry. That's really good advice, Katrina. Thank you so much. I just wanted to say to everybody, our next talk is Lavinia Osborne, which is at 12:12. I actually love Lavinia.
Yeah, blockchain.
Blockchain, exactly. And you might not think you need to know about blockchain, but when you start finding out more about blockchain, you'll realize this is something you should learn about and you should know about, especially now and in the future as well. So intro to blockchain with Lavinia is at 12:30. So now you've got half an hour to have a little walk around. I know I'm going to have been sitting on this chair for a couple of hours now. Yeah, so that's it. Go for it. Have a little break and come back in half an hour and hear from Lavinia. And I'll see you again there, of course, when I introduce her.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Katrina. See you soon. Take care. Bye.